Hi everyone, I'm Andrea. We're here with the lovely Jill, founder of Red Tent Australia, and we're going to have a delicious conversation about all the ongoings, where it all came from, and a lot about Jill's journey. So welcome.
Thank you.
So before we get to the big core questions, I was really curious about your journey of sisterhood and how you came into that.
Yeah, well, they say that your biggest wound is also your biggest gift. And so the word sisterhood is actually, I use it now frequently every day, but it wasn't always a pleasant thing for me. I just have one sister, and unfortunately, we sort of haven't really seen eye to eye for more of our life than we have. And for whatever reason, but I felt right from a very young age that I didn't belong. I didn't belong in my family. I wasn't welcome. The door was shut in my face quite often. And, probably that annoying little sister just wasn't made to feel a part of something. And so that never really was spoken, but it was what I felt. And so I traveled for a long time. I left home when I was really young. I was only just 18 and I started traveling. I'm originally from New Zealand, and I came to Australia, and I became quite a bit of a lone wolf, I guess. I sort of tried hard to find my tribe, my niche, and made a lot of friends, and still have a lot of friends that I'm friends with since I was 5 years old, but struggled to find where I belonged, and struggled to definitely find sisters or sisterhood. So when I came to Australia again, so I traveled and I lived in America for 14 years. And when I came back to Australia, I didn't really know anybody, and I had 3 kids, and I had my partner, and he's from here, and we've known each other since I was 16 years old. But we recently reconnected about 7 or 8 years ago. And so when I first came here to be with him, he was the only person I knew. I did have one friend, and she lived about an hour away, but I was lonely, and I really knew what I didn't want. And I didn't want, the superficial, competitive conversations that you leave feeling worse than what you did when, if you're going to meet somebody for coffee or go out, and you come home and you're like, oh God, that felt horrible. I didn't want that. I didn't have time for that, and I would rather have been alone. So that was my journey of sisterhood. And now, it hasn't been easy, but I've definitely found it within the Red Tent.
It's very funny because you speak a lot of perhaps painful periods in your life, but you say it with such brightness, and it's only telling really of the journey and how far you've come since then. Can you share your experience of your first circle?
Yes. Well, it didn't even occur to me that I had anything worth sharing at all until after, well, I'll get to the first circle in a while, but after many circles, somebody said to me, you need to tell your story. And I thought, who would want to hear that? And when I did tell my story, and, the story of growing up and having children and all of these things that I'm just turned 44. So I've sort of been around the block a few times. When you can tell your story without going into the story and disappearing into the emotion of it, that's when you can honestly feel that you've healed from those past woundings and seen the gift and learned the lesson. So my first circle was April 2013. Now, I had been running women's circles and doing women's groups and things since 20 years. But my first Red Tent circle was April 2013, and I had a 2-week-old baby strapped to me in a sling. And I really had no idea what I was doing. In fact, I think if I had have thought about it, I wouldn't have done it because I would have been scared. But it just all sort of unfolded. And I had some other women that were there to help me as well. And we were excited about this. We really didn't have website or Facebook or anything like that. I think we hung a poster up at the local organic shop And 20 something women walked in the door that night. And so it really, spoke to how needed this was. And I fumbled my way through. My heart was pounding the whole time, hoping that what I was saying was resonating and had value. And obviously it did, because lots and lots of women have come back, and still to this day, one of my dearest friends was at that very, very first circle, and she still remains, coming every time to help me and volunteer. And so turns out that you don't really need to know it all to start.
Yeah, beautiful. Good point. And so would I be right in saying perhaps that the need for connection and community was the thing that really drove you the most to create Circle?
Yeah, absolutely. And even more than connection and community was support. So a lot of women that I speak to, especially new mums, and Rowan, who was 2 weeks old at the time, he's turning 5 next week. But when you've got a new baby, it's incredibly isolating. And there is so much information out there. Now, he wasn't my first, he was my 4th baby, but for new mums, you just feel so conflicted and so tired, and you don't even know what's true and what's real anymore. But really all you need is support. And sometimes support doesn't actually even say anything. Sometimes support just offers a cup of tea,
Yeah.
Or sits next to you, or pats the cushion next to them and says, here, let's sit down, and it smiles. And so that's what I needed, and I knew that other people needed it as well. And then of course there was this, and I know you and I both share this curiosity with, this insatiable knowledge, thirst for knowledge and wanting to learn about stuff. And it was just really nice that other people wanted to learn about the same stuff as well.
That's awesome. I can say though, like from my first Red Tent, I really felt its deep integrity, and I can sense that it's purely as an expression of you, and I think that's really magic. So thank you for following those prompts.
Thank you, and thank you for your wonderful words, integrity and magic. You got
it. Cool. Well, let's move on to maybe the questions. Interested to get an idea of the type of women that you attract. Is there a common thread between your journey and theirs?
No and yes. So the type of women we attract are women from all walks of life and backgrounds and age groups and experiences, and just amazing, incredible women and girls, young girls as well. And I say to people, if you've been to one Red Tent Circle, you've been to one Red Tent Circle. So even if you go to the same branch of the Red Tent, and we've got 30 branches I think now, so it's different every single month. The common thread between us is that we are reaching out to create a honest and vulnerable connection. And sometimes that's not easy. It's definitely a choice. And sometimes it's much easier to hide under the covers and pretend that it's not happening, or to just watch other people go first. So what we encourage and invite our facilitators to do is be completely honest and say what's going on for them, so that it gives other people the opportunity to go, me too. This is for me as well. So the common thread, I think, is compassion, resilience, and strength, but not always. We can't be strong always. And the other common thread is a passion to, I won't say overthrow the patriarchy, but that's really kind of what it is.
As gently as possible.
To model the behavior that we want to be seen in society at large. That's what we do at Red Tent.
Absolutely. And obviously that's a global vision for, you know, women all around the world. But in terms of pulling it back to our country, this beautiful land and all that it has to offer, how would you describe the, you know, our unique point in the whole red tent movement?
Well, and we are in such uh, interesting times. This is such a great opportunity, and little by little, day by day, one by one, we are building that bridge because and you and I have spoken about this, how lucky we are to live in this country, and this is just such a rich, amazing, you know, the nature here is completely unique, and our weather is fabulous, and we are so incredibly lucky, but we have the most wealth of knowledge with our Indigenous people here that
Absolutely.
we're just very, very beginning to learn. And it's my hope that we can really, you know, start to build that bridge and start to learn more and grow more and, you know, balance some of that out. And yeah, that's really huge for us.
Magic. I'm reading a book at the moment called The Oldest Song in the World. And it's about a young Sydney city woman who's gone on a mission up north into the desert to capture the song, the oldest song in the world, and that's it's only for women. It's only allowed for women to hear, and it feels like such a parallel to this whole journey that I'm about to embark on. But you know that there's this really rich ancient song that's weaving its, you know, its message, its truth between all of us. Yeah, it feels really strong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How lucky we are to be alive at this time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so what would you say your vision is for Red Tent Australia?
I'm not sure if we've got that much time, Andrea.
Okay.
The umbrella and I guess the platform that Red Tent Australia is offering. So the short answer is what I personally am fostering, and with the help of the most amazing team of women around me for this, you know, Red Tent Australia is a non-profit social enterprise. So we are, the way we've been built and structured very, very consciously is called sacred commerce. And so sacred commerce is a way of doing business where we deem our success on how the people who are helping us, how much success that they can get. And when I say success, I don't necessarily mean money, but if that's what they want, then let's figure out how we can help them achieve that. So part of the facilitator training, the first module, we give them homework before they've even started, and we ask for them to tell us their core desires, their hopes, their wishes, their dreams, their goals, and then we work together as an organization to help them achieve that. And I really truly believe that the model that we've set up for not just our members but for the facilitators coming in, it's an opportunity for them to, you know, listen to the words that their soul is wanting them to hear, and to actually manifest those, and really sort of small steps, doable, practical. You know, the power of manifestation when you're working with a group of strong women, it's fabulous. And so the vision is, you know, yes, we've got some really driven and focused women on how we can grow this and make it you know, not just Australia-wide, but we've got people come from New Zealand last year to our retreat. We had members from New Zealand for Red Tent Australia. We have members in WA, members all over the country where there are not red tents yet. So it's more of a movement. It really is. And so like I said, the umbrella of what we can offer, not just to our members or our facilitators, but, you know, sponsors, people that can see this incredible network, strong network of women working together to achieve the greater good. You know, it's the opportunities and the vision, it's really is endless. It's just like I say, it's in here and it's out now. We've got, you know, a vision and a roadmap and things on how to achieve the greater things, but we're really working one year at a time, but we've got, what do you call it, strategic plan for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So look out, here we come.
Yeah. Well, awesome. It feels very potent. I'm certainly looking forward to holding hands with everyone, all the branches.
Yeah.
And what would be the best way for people to connect with the Red Tent community in Australia?
Yeah, well, obviously the website, redtentaustralia.org. Facebook, we're very active on Facebook. So the Red Tent Australia Facebook page is the main page. And then every single one of the branches has their own page as well. So if you're in an area that doesn't have a red tent yet, then please let us know. And we run the facilitator training a couple times a year in both Queensland and New South Wales. And, you know, just reach out and tell us what your vision is and let us know, you know, how we can help you support that and how we can help it, you know, come to fruition. So yeah, thank you for asking. But Facebook and the website are probably the best way to get in contact with us, and of course you can always email us as well, redtentaustralia.org, or that's the website, redtentaustralia@gmail.com is the email address. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. All right, thanks for your time, Jill.
Thank you.